We are going to have a good time, a very, very good time. You're going to learn something that will create incredible, incredible transformation in what you do as an entrepreneur, as a professional, or whatever that you do. You are going to learn something that it will cause a shift and a transformation in your life. This is something that I've been meaning to teach and to share with the people in the community because it's based on what I have seen as a major challenge in terms of people breaking through and really, really succeeding according to the plan of God for their lives. So get set. I hope you have your notebooks, your journals, and what of you? Couple of decades ago, I don't know exactly, but it's a couple of decades ago, a great man by name Winston Churchill, for those who have done world history, should know him as the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He made a very important statement and he said, to each, that means to every human being, to each, there comes in their lifetime a special moment. To every human being, it comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder, where they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing. And then he said, what a tragedy. That's where the point comes in. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared. That golden moment that was orchestrated and designed by God, it comes to you. It comes to you and it finds you unprepared. And then the Bible talks about to everyone, there will be time and chance. Everyone has that moment in their journey in life, that chance, that opportunity, that time, that kairos moment, where they are going to encounter a golden opportunity orchestrated to change their lives forever. Everybody, and not only one, many of those opportunities are orchestrated to come your way in the journey of life. But like Churchill said, the biggest tragedy is that for many people, when these golden moments come their way, it finds them unprepared. I always say that when God wants to change your life, and I wrote this quote from experience because I've noticed that when something is about to happen, when God has orchestrated to change my life or to take me to a higher level of success or breakthrough or an open door, uh, a couple of things always happen. Number one, either I will meet somebody new or I will start having this leading to learn something new, or a platform will come my way, or an opportunity. Because with God, breakthroughs are tied to any of these, right? And when God wants to change your life, He orchestrates an opportunity to come your way. And when that opportunity comes your way, that golden moment, that special moment as Churchill was talking about. And if that special moment comes your way and you don't have the ability, you are so unprepared, that season can pass, that Kairos season, because every life changing opportunity, never forget this, every life changing opportunity is tied to a season. And until you make good use of that opportunity within that window, you will miss out on the moment that was designed to change your life. You see, I have had the privilege to encounter different opportunities, but one that always stand out among many others was the first time I ever traveled to the United States a couple of years ago. And I remember vividly in Kumbu at the time, where I was in a locality known as Tobin, and I was walking. I was walking, you know, I was going somewhere and I was walking. And as I was walking, I saw a group of people somewhere. And I saw a friend at that place, and he was one of the organizers of that event. Then I asked him, what is going on here? And he said, this and this and this is going on. And the people who organized this came from the US Embassy and they're doing that. And I just heard that in passing. I was not in the event. And then I passed. But that was new knowledge, new information that came into my ecosystem. And my ability to react or to proactively take initiative towards that information was that single information changed the rest of my life, I could say so, because the things I did from that year, I think that was 2015, till today, hinged on that particular opportunity that I had and what I did with it. That literally changes everything. And of course, after that, I have come across different opportunities in the process. But at the same time, in the work I do and in coaching and consulting and strategy and all of these things, I get to see people miss out on golden moments, on golden opportunities. And this is what made me to start doing a research and a study and experimentations. What are those things that if somebody practices or if somebody develops them in their life, they will be able to make good use and seize golden defining opportunities. Because to each one, like Churchill says, he said, to each, there comes a time in their lifetime when a special moment would tap you on the shoulder. And if we start doing maybe question and answer session now, many people will tell you that there are a couple of opportunities that came their way and they were not prepared and they didn't even know what to do with it. And in the internet age, you see, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you needed to wait for opportunities to find you. But in the internet age, you can find opportunities, take advantage of them, and advance your life. And like I always say, talent is equally distributed, but opportunities are not equally distributed. But the people who understand how to find these opportunities and are prepared to harness the opportunities, their lives will always change for good. So I took some time. Like I always say, anything I bring to the public to teach, now that I've done about 2 years of research and studies and analysis before I decided, okay, this is refined knowledge and strategies that the public can consume. So I've been doing a lot of research on this. And one thing that I like to do is I like to go sometimes 100 years backward to read biographies and materials and studies to begin to understand the people that stood out in their generation then and now. What kind of mindset, what kind of actions, technical, soft skills, mentally, whatever, what kind of things did they put into play, either consciously or unconsciously, that contributed to their incredible success? So my findings is what I'm able to bring to us in this masterclass today. And I'm believing that because, these are also things that many of these things I have put them to use myself. I've experimented them myself, and I've used them with many of my clients in private coaching sessions. And of course, we have incredible feedback. So what I'm saying is if you pick out these things, so I have about 18, not 13, 18 strategic actions that anybody at any stage in life, anybody right now, whether you're still starting, you are in a growing stage, or you're making millions every month right now from your business, the things I will share with you, there are things that if you understand them and you carry them consciously and you deploy them in whatever that you do, you will become that person who will have the ability at all times to make good use and to harness every golden opportunity that comes your way, whether golden or not. But the goal is that if an opportunity comes your way, you know what to do and how to take advantage of it. Now, before I start with number one, I always fondly say that from my conclusion, right? And for those, so many of you here are from the Professionals and Entrepreneurs Fellowship International, and some people are from the email list, whatever you're joining this from. I always say that when I read my Bible, one of the things that I pick that I call the programming of God. I have names for so many things, so don't mind me. But it helps me to understand how the world works, how God thinks in the little way I can. But what I call the programming of God or the script of God is that the real script for humanity, for mankind, based on God's perspective, the real script is for every human being to become the creator of their destiny, tapping into what God has ordained for them. Because God, in his sovereignty, he has designed a destiny for each and every one. Now, it is your responsibility, my responsibility, to run that script. And the origin of that script, the intention of that programming is for you to be a creator of your destiny as already ordained by God, not for you to be a victim. That's why when you look at the Bible in Genesis 1:26, God talks about the first thing God said to man. It has nothing to do with being a victim, being small, being limited, being inadequate. It talks about dominion, fruitfulness, expansion, and what have you. So the real script is the script of you being a creator as far as your destiny is concerned, and not you being the consumer of your environment. But unfortunately, many people have become consumers of their environment, and they are now living their lives based on the script the environment has given them, not based on the script that God ordained for them to be, the creators or the manifestors of their destiny. Now, let's get into these points or these strategic actions that if you are here, and this is something that I believe will run the rest of your life. Why? Because every single one on this call right now, everyone on this call right now, no whatever age, if you are a proactive person, you're somebody who you leave your comfort zone and you try things, you learn things, you try to build, you try to create, you try to contribute, you're that kind of a person, then hear me very well. There are golden moments ahead of you. There are well orchestrated, designed opportunities ahead of you. And they will come. They will come. And what you do with them would determine how far you will rise in this life. They will come. Let me give you another testimony. There was a time that a US-based government agency reached out to me to be part of one of their projects in Africa. And one of those projects I was paid so well in a couple of millions for a few weeks. And when they reached out to me, they said, this is happening in 3 days. If you have your passport ready and you have the content to come and train, we need you in this country in 3 days. That was all. That was a golden opportunity. Heavily golden opportunity. And if I didn't understand certain things to begin to, there are things that when I understood several years ago, there's a way I live my life. Because I understood that, hey, there are some things that would come at you. They will come at you, and what you do with them would determine your rising or your stagnation. And I'm telling you guys here right now on this call, in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 25 years, there are things that will come at you, designed for you to change your life, to benefit you. But what you do with them will design your rising or your stagnation. This is a fact. And someday, something will come at you, and you will remember this bouncer voice speaking in your head. And Dr. Jabber told me this, right? So I'm trying to emphasize this so you understand how the things I'll be sharing with you, they are critical arsenals that you have to pick them, especially young people. You're here and you're 40 and below. These are things that the next 30 years of your life will either you use them to make yourself, or you ignore them and remain the same like everybody else in your environment. It's a decision, right? Number one, the first strategic action that if you take and you understand this concept and deploy it in your life practically, you will always make good use of golden opportunities when they show up. Number one, prepare in peace for war times. Prepare in peace for war times. When you are in your season of peace, prepare for war times. Like I said, I like to read books. I'm reading a lot about the empires, older empires, the Roman Empire, Syrian Empire, Spanish Empire. And these empires, the strength of these empires we are directly related to the strength of the military and, of course, the intelligence of the generals that these empires had. And one of the major protocols that these generals lived by was that in time of peace, we prepare for war. In time of peace, we prepare for war. In other words, and this peace can mean different things for different people in this call right now. Let's say, for example, if you're here and you're just starting in your journey, nobody knows you, you're not popular, nobody's paying you, nobody's calling you, but yet you have a dream of being an impactful, influential person in your industry, in your nation. You see this season that nobody's calling you, looking for you, inviting you. That season is your season of peace. And what you do with that season will determine when war times comes. And your war time doesn't mean you're fighting. It means that is the time when everybody needs your attention, because you have become so good at what you do that they need you. That becomes your war season, where all you need to do is to deliver the value you were creating in your peace seasons. Now, why is this important? Because great moments don't come with warning signs. Many a times, the opportunities that will change your destiny will not come with a warning. And I can say from experience, the opportunities that have changed my life in any little capacity or big capacity, they did not warn me. They did not tell me that, hey, Joybert, in 2 weeks, I am coming to change your life. They don't do that. They don't do that. That is why understanding the concept of preparing in peace for war times is important, because war times will come at you. Destiny moments time will come at you. So wise people prepare every day like something big is coming their way. That's the mentality they have. They prepare every day like something big is coming their way. And truly, something big is coming your way. Do you know when? No. Do you know how sometimes? No. Do you know the location? Absolutely not. Do you know who it would come through? I tell you, you have no idea. But I guarantee you, something big will come your way. But wise people have the consciousness that every day is an opportunity to prepare for that big moment that is coming my way. So when you have this understanding, you now build the discipline before the opportunity shows up. You build the discipline before the opportunity shows up, so that anytime it shows up, you are ready to harness and to put it to work. You understand that you need to build the habit, you need to spend the time and build the right habits before the opportunities begin to come. You understand that it is your responsibility to prepare mentally, to prepare knowledge-wise, skill-wise, character-wise, before the battlefield appears. You have that consciousness. You understand that, hey, it is my responsibility to train in private in order to lead in public. It is my responsibility to train in my season of peace, so that when war comes, I am battling and I am not guessworking, I am not assuming, I am executing with precision, with courage, with boldness, and with assurance. Why? Because you have been preparing in your season of peace. You have been training in private when nobody knew you, so that when public manifestation comes, you deliver with excellence. So it is at this stage you acquire what I call DSI. DSI. If you're following me, type DSI in the chat box. Let me tell you what DSI is. If you're following on YouTube, here on Zoom, type DSI in the chat box so that I tell you what it is and you never forget. It is in your season of peace that you acquire DSI. DSI and DKI. What is DSI? It is in your season of peace that you acquire DSI or DKI. DSI stands for Destiny Shifting Information. DKI stands for Destiny Shifting Knowledge. Right? So it is in your season of peace that you acquire destiny shifting information or destiny shifting knowledge. Many people don't acquire this at all. Then when their seasons of display comes, when that golden opportunity comes, they have nothing to show for it. So the opportunity that should have changed their life financially, career-wise, business-wise. Let's say you're an entrepreneur, and maybe you know that your current capital is not enough. One of the most important things you need to have as your DSI is your pitch. What if a billionaire shows out of nowhere, or somebody who invests in philanthropy, or somebody who just loves to sponsor young people and their ideas? And God, by His Spirit, orchestrate your lives to fall in pleasant places, and you appear in a room or on a table or in a meeting or in a restaurant that you meet this guy. What will you say? So, in your season of peace, you prepare for war. That in that restaurant where you meet that great person, you are automatically in your season of war. And whatever you are preparing in your season of peace will be displayed. I have a question for you. What are you doing with your season of peace? Because if you have all the time now, no opportunities are coming your way, you are not busy, you're not attending meetings, you're not doing anything that keeps you busy, that is your season of peace. And that season is for you to prepare for golden opportunities. Why? Because the information, the knowledge, and the perspective that occupies your head is what will determine your potential in the future. And the information, the knowledge, and the perspective, you acquire all of these during your season of peace. I always tell my mentees, when success is uncertain, the great still prepare. Never forget that. When success is uncertain, the great still prepare. If you're here and you have the feeling and you're uncertain, what will my next 10 years turn out to be? How will my life look like? Nothing is showing right now. I don't have a good job, or my business is struggling. I even have no business, no capital. Everything seems as if there's chaos around me. Hey, when I read the biographies of the great and the great, this one thing I discovered. They had seasons of uncertainty. But you know one thing that they did? They still prepared for success when it was uncertain. They still prepared for success when it was uncertain. I have a philosophy I live by. I have a very important philosophy I live by. I always say that as far as this life is concerned, if I end up being a failure in this life, I will fail on my terms. I will fail working hard. I will fail studying. I will fail improving. I will fail innovating. I will fail strategizing. I will fail praying. I will fail trusting God. I will fail in faith. I will fail on my terms. I will not feel lazy. Watching films for 5 hours a day will not contribute in my failure. Spending 4 hours on social media every day will not contribute to my failure. If I end up failing in this life, I will fail on my terms. I will show up every single day. But here's the good news. I have not seen anybody who did all of these things and end up failing. So even in your most uncertain period, painful period, in your biggest disappointment season, if you still prepare for that uncertain opportunity that you don't know when it will come, and that success, you don't know when it will come, I guarantee you, you will end up being a big breakthrough and a big success in whatever you do. because God, by divine design, He has orchestrated the entire world to reward those who behave, act in this particular dimension. Prepare in peace for war times. Prepare in peace for wartime. That is element number one. Number two, build before you are seen. Build before you are seen. This is the second element. I have discovered that anybody who will take advantage of golden opportunities that will come your way, you don't focus on being seen, you focus on building. Focus on building. And this is a very difficult element in this social media generation, in this attention, viral, hungry generation. And that's why, you see, I have a book on how to build, manage, and monetize attention. About 5 years or 6 years ago, I began to anticipate that attention will be a very critical element, asset in the next 50 years. But many people don't understand the game of attention. And many people chase virality and popularity in the name of influence and attention. These are four separate things. That's why it's possible to be viral and popular and yet you're broke. And you can see somebody who is not as viral and as popular as, let's say, comedians or all these social media, popular people, but yet they command a certain dimension of wealth and impact that they cannot command. Because another group of people, they focus on being viral and being popular, running the script of the poor, while there are some people that they understand the game of influence, and attention, and impact, and they run the script of the wealthy. You see, I always tell people that either you're attending the school of the poor or the school of the rich. And when you're in my community, you are so lucky to learn the things that only the rich get to learn, right? And because I tell you, when I began to get closer to rich people, I understood that these guys consume totally a different type of curriculum than people in the middle class and in the lower class. I said, look, there is a school for the rich and there's a school for the poor. And you're either running the script of the poor or the script of the rich, right? Not the teaching for today. But the second element is build before you are seen. Don't chase virality. Don't chase popularity. Don't chase likes and comments. That is for babes. People that will make good use of golden opportunities and golden moments are people who focus on impact, influence, and attention that is an asset. And for you to enjoy this, everybody has a season that they will not be seen. You would desire to be seen and nobody will see you. It's a law. You must go through that unseen season. And what you do in that unseen season when nobody's seeing you, before you are seen, will determine how you will harness the golden opportunities that will come your way when you are seen. So the challenge is that most people wait to be discovered. Hear me very well. Hear me very well. This is a big challenge for many people, old and young. Most people who don't understand the concept of building before they are seen, what they must do is they wait to be discovered. No, you don't wait to be discovered. You build. You build while having the consciousness that you will be seen. Does it mean that you're not talking about what you're doing on social media? No, it doesn't mean that way. It means that you are operating from a different dimension of understanding. You are not chasing virality aimlessly. You are not chasing popularity aimlessly. But you understand that you are not playing the game of the poor. People that want, that's why if you notice, mostly people from the poor families and middle class, they like to dress rich and wear expensive clothes and expensive shoes in order to prove a point. People attend the school of the poor, they don't bother about that. Their goal is, do I have what can keep people consuming what I'm creating as value? That's why people who attend the school of the poor, they are builders, they are momentum people, they are value creators. They understand the game of packaging and the game of monetizing what they are building. They understand that the spotlight is important, but the spotlight that you cannot monetize is useless to your destiny. That's why it's important to build before you are seen. You need to understand that you don't need to wait to be discovered. No, you build to be discovered. These are two different frameworks. There are many of you here, you have been waiting. My time will come, my time will come. It will not come. Golden opportunities come to people who build to be discovered, not people who wait to be discovered. You are running a business and you're just managing. My time will come, my time will come, my time will come. No. You build that business consciously until it is discovered. And when it is discovered as a good, valuable business. So, real leaders understand that if I am in a season where the spotlight is not on me, I am not being seen the way I want to be seen. Because in this generation now, when people see others on TV, they want to be on TV. When they see others having 1,000 likes and comments, they want to have 1,000 likes and comments. However, real leaders, great leaders and great entrepreneurs, they understand that before the spotlight, they build quietly before anyone claps for them. I always say that if you are not passionate enough to build quietly when no one is clapping for you, you don't deserve the spotlight you're looking for. Let me say it again. If you are not passionate enough in that industry, in that career, in that business, to build quietly when no one is clapping for you, you don't deserve the spotlight, the life-changing opportunity come your way. And do you know what? Whether you like it or not, it's a spiritual law that I've seen the same law in the Bible from Genesis right down to the New Testament. There are certain golden opportunities that only come to people who understand the game of building quietly when no one is watching. I can show you the pattern. David, for you to be able to kill Goliath, for that opportunity to come for you to kill Goliath before the king and the army watching at you, you must be comfortable at defending the sheep and fighting and killing the bears and the lion in alone and nobody's watching. Very difficult spot to be. Have you ever pictured that picture in your mind? Imagine defending sheep, killing the bears and the lion, and there is no human being who sees what you're doing. You are the only person who knows that you are so courageous, you are so bold, you are so good at what you do that you can kill a lion and nobody is there seeing, but yet you are doing it. That is the person that will have the opportunity to have the spotlight shone upon to kill Goliath before the kings of nations watching. Joseph, if you will interpret dreams for the king and create value for the king, you must be comfortable at interpreting dreams in prison when nobody will celebrate you, nobody will clap for you. Because interpreting dreams for Pharaoh, the king of the most powerful nation at the time, is only reserved for people who are comfortable at perfecting their skill when no one is clapping. Build before you are seen. If you have this mentality, when that golden opportunity will come, you will be ready. When that life-changing opportunity knocks at your door, my goodness, you will shout, I have been waiting for you all my life. I am ready, and I will show you that this guy has the skills, the knowledge, the experience, the character, the boldness, the courage. I have everything because in the last 10 years, in the last 5 years, in the last 2 years, I have been preparing for you. Then you will harness that opportunity and change the rest of your life. You see, the early part of my life, I grew up in a village. And in our village, most guys, we had used to pay people to build houses in our village, right? So we used to, if a guy wants to build a house, he invites other young guys to come and build the bricks, mold the bricks, it dries, and then when it's the time to build the house, the people know how to build, and I come and begin to help the guy to build the house and all of that. And we used to do that. And you see, when laying the bricks, brick by brick, in building the walls of that house, great builders, when they are laying the bricks, they don't care if somebody's watching. Their main responsibility at that time in laying that one brick is to ensure that it fits, is aligned, and the next brick can lay on that brick and there are no discrepancies. What am I saying? Great builders lay bricks when no one is watching. They understand that in that season, at that particular moment, their goal is to build the right way. What you're working on right now, let me say it again, especially if you're 40 years and below right now, what you're working on right now, if you are not willing to work on it in silence, so passionate, and nobody says, well done, but yet you wake up every day, painful seasons, difficult seasons, you still work on it. If you are not willing to do that in silence, consistently, and only let the results speak for itself when the opportunity comes, then you are not serious with what you're building. Comfortable and building in obscurity because your future depends on it. Let me say it again. Be comfortable and building in obscurity like your future depends on it because it does. Because whatever you're doing in obscurity, when no one is clapping and no one knows it, would determine what you will do when the golden opportunity comes your way. You see, a personal little story. I have training content, frameworks, strategies. I think they are almost, I'm not exaggerating, but show my folder, you see it. Think the last time I checked, they are almost about 3,000 ideas, training ideas, developed, research, contributed. Because every day I'm always creating. I'm always creating because I know. I know. As a believer, I know what God has told me, shown me. Someday, leaders of nations will sit and say, we need to hear you. Have I spoken before? Ambassadors and ministers of a few countries have done that. But it's not yet up to 5% of what I believe of the group of people I know I am called to serve. So every day, every new day is an opportunity to perfect, to refine, to iterate, to improve. Sometimes what I'm teaching you guys, what I teach in 1 hour, sometimes is 2 years of perfecting before it is worth it to come out in public. If I am not passionate enough to work on a training concept, a business strategy, a leadership concept, a wealth creation perspective, that I can perfect it, test it, arrange it in private for 2 years, and no one is clapping and no one knows what I'm doing, then I'm not ready for the spotlight when it comes. This is the same principle for everybody, because I know in this journey of life, moments are going to come. Opportunities will knock. Kings will come. But when they come, will you be prepared? Or will you miss it out? Because this will come to everybody. Everybody. It's God's design. Everybody will have their moments. Everybody. But not everybody harness their moments. Some people, when they come, they are not even where the opportunities expect them to be. Some, they are totally inadequate. If you will build great things and harness opportunities that will change your life, you have to come to that place where you have to sacrifice short-term freedom in order to earn long-term freedom. In this generation, it is becoming very challenging. If you are not willing to sacrifice short-term freedom in order to earn long-term freedom, there are some doors you cannot knock. There are some platforms you cannot stand upon. There are some rooms you cannot enter. Because there are rooms, there are platforms, there are nations, there are opportunities that only comes to people who have paid the price to sacrifice short-term freedom in order to earn that long-term freedom. I always fondly say, you cannot think like a generation. You cannot consume what they consume. You cannot behave like them and expect to lead them. And it's also the pattern of God. For Moses to be able to lead the Israelites out of bondage, Moses cannot grow in Goshen. Moses cannot grow in the same pattern that kept them in slavery and bondage. It's God's pattern always. It's always God's mentality, God's method. For Moses to deliver the generation of Israel from bondage and slavery, Moses cannot grow in the same system, consume the same thing, behave like them. So God must orchestrate that he lives outside the system that kept them in bondage, so that he can have a deliverer's mentality, a dominion mentality, a conqueror's mentality and a fighter's mentality. For David to kill Goliath, David cannot be in Saul's army because Saul's army was full of chicken-hearted, fearful, I don't even know what other name to call them, mediocres who could not face Goliath. So God had to orchestrate that David must not be in Saul's army because that system will breed fear into him. That system will breed mediocrity into him. That system will also turn him into somebody who will run away from Goliath instead of running towards Goliath. It's God's method. Abraham, you cannot be the father of all nations if you stay in the awe of the Chaldeans. God must bring you out before that can manifest. Daniel, you cannot eat the same food that everybody else is eating and expect to stand out. You cannot allow the same culture that kept people in bondage to keep you in bondage, Daniel. If not, you will not be the wise man and the prophet of God in a certain dispensation, like that particular dispensation. It will go on and on and on, and you will see the pattern of God. It's the same pattern in this generation. You cannot consume the same social media content that everybody else is consuming and expect to lead a generation. You cannot watch the same movies that everybody is watching and expect to lead a generation. You cannot be learning from the same stereotypes, the same culture, same environment that everybody in your age group is learning from and expect to lead them. You cannot behave like them. Maybe hang out like them, gossip like them, drink alcohol like them, go clubbing like them, argue like them, do everything like them, and expect to lead a generation. That's why the majority of the world is in the middle class and lower class. The majority are living hand to mouth, broke and struggling. You know why? Because they are running the same script. You cannot allow the same scripts to run you and expect to produce results beyond the same people that you behave like them. You have to sacrifice short-term freedom in order to earn long-term freedom. So build before you are seen. That point, and then we're done for today's masterclass. I said this is going to be a series throughout the month of April. I have 18 points to share with you guys on things that you must start doing every day if you will be the person that when the golden opportunity comes your way, you will take advantage of it. So don't miss our Thursday masterclasses. Sometimes some may happen more than once a week because I want to give as many points as possible in this series because I have a different series I want to teach in the month of May. Okay, so it's very important. All right, number 3, and then we are done for today. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's a mentality. It's a framework. It's a mental consciousness. It's a heart posture. It's an attitude. This you only find in military. It's a military framework. These people live ready so they don't have to get ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Why is this important? From my experience, opportunities that will change your life comes very fast. Opportunities that will change your life comes very fast. And if they come to you before you start getting ready, you are not serious. Like I always find this say in the church setting, you cannot be busy praying for international open door and you don't have a passport. You want an angel to appear and say, my daughter, go and get a passport before you go and get one. That's lack of faith. That's lack of wisdom. There are things within your disposal that you have to get them ready before the move of God comes. That is your responsibility. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. People who have to get ready when opportunities come always miss them. I tell you, they always miss them out. Why? Because opportunities come very fast, and every life changing opportunity is always within a certain window. Kairos moment, a particular window. They are never there just waiting, oh, please, here I am, come and take me. No. I always say that if you are not already ready, you are already late. If you are not already ready, you are already late. So you need to stay ready by sharpening your mind, sharpening your character, your attitude, your skills, industry knowledge, data, information, what have you. What are those critical things that are so core to what you do? You need to stay ready as far as those things are concerned. Because here's one principle I discovered a few years ago. Constant readiness creates uncommon advantage. Let me say it again. Constant readiness creates uncommon advantage. For example, there are 100 people, and 100 people, they are all waiting for a life-changing opportunity. Life-changing. They are hoping, they're even praying for it. Maybe some are Christian, Pentecostal, and charismatic. They have fasted 40 days and 40 nights. That's good. But how ready are you? The main uncommon advantage is the readiness of the people. Constant readiness creates an uncommon advantage for you in whatever you're doing. Opportunities will knock at your door. And many a times, sometimes there are opportunities that many people are looking for it. Whoever stays constantly ready will always have uncommon advantage against those who don't or who are not ready. You see, back in secondary school days, I used to play soccer, what they call football. At one point, I even thought I'd be a serious soccer player, right? I was good at playing what they call midfield eight. Um, so, and we used to play competitive soccer at the time, but we used to play interquartier, interquarters, and then school games. There was a time I played a top cup match in Cameroon, for those who know the Cameroon education system, and what do they call that thing? FENASCO games, right? So I did all those kind of stuff as far as soccer was concerned. But you see, in sports and in soccer, you don't train on game day. At best, you can do warm up on game day. So many people want to train on game day. And that is dangerous as far as opportunities are concerned. You don't train on game day. You warm up on game day. So you display what you have been training on and perfecting in the last 3 weeks or in the last 1 month. Many people want to train on game day, but on game day, you don't train. At best, you can warm up and you display your skills and you get the job done. What does that mean? Readiness is built daily. You don't stay ready once in a while. Readiness is built daily and not borrowed last minute. So if you become the person that will make good use of golden opportunities, you must master the game of staying ready so you don't have to stay ready. One major tip on how you can stay ready: identify key things. It could be top 4 key things or 5 key things that are critical in your success as a career person, entrepreneur, or whatever that you do, your calling, ministry, whatever. And challenge yourself that every day you are going to practice those core things and become better at it. Right? For example, I have my own things that I do every day. There are things I've been doing every day for the last 15 years, every day. And for the next 30 years, I would like to keep doing them because those things are critical for my work. The more proficient, the more efficient, the more effective I become those things, the more I become a high value personality in my industry. That's the only way I can stay ready so I don't have to get ready when the life changing opportunities come knocking at my door. So whether you're making $100 million right now or you're making $10 every day, you need to understand this system and you have to create one for yourself. What can I do on a daily basis so that I can stay ready so I don't have to get ready? And here's the good news about staying ready. The more you do things to stay ready, the more you increase your value. The more you increase your effectiveness, the more you increase your expertise, and the more you increase how much you are worth as a professional. Let's say right now you're in a business where you do a lot of presentation of your product. For example, one of my mentees, I told her, okay, you see, your business is you do a lot of talking about your product in your business, and presentation skill is a skill that you have to become so proficient and so precise in a way that when you present your product, a client will not be able to refuse. In short, if they end up not buying, let them regret not spending money on you. I want to challenge you for the next 90 days. Record a 10 minutes video every day presenting your product. She was like, what? Say yes. You want to become the best? Every best you see in public, every best you see in public is hours and hours of private training that nobody's seeing. Nobody's seeing. Go and check the Ronaldos. Go and check. Uh, the last time I watched a documentary, I like to watch documentaries also to understand behind the scenes. I watched a documentary of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. You see, I don't watch football, but I like to. And when I see a team like Real Madrid or Manchester City doing well, I go and look for documentaries, research documents, and people have written about them. Why are they performing at a high level in public? I am concerned with their private strategies and training. I don't watch football, but I can tell you top performing teams. I can tell you their coaches, their strategies, their techniques, their frameworks, because it's good. It's important for my job, right? So I did that. And I noticed that these guys, Man City performed at a high level, I think it was 2003, 2023 or so, at a very high level, exceptionally, massively standing out in goals and team formation and whatever that they were doing. But when I watched that documentary, I was like, my goodness, look at the public performance that everybody's celebrating, but very few people understand the pain of practice, the pain of waking up at 6 a.m., the pain of sitting in ice water for 1 hour almost every day to heal the muscles and all of that, the pain of eating what you don't like. That pain, many people don't see it. But it is that pain that readiness of staying ready every day that produces that public manifestation and that public glory. So when the opportunity comes, they take advantage of it. I have given you 3 points, 3 strategic points that these must become critical daily lifestyle framework for you as a person. If you become the person, you see, many people wait for success. Many people live life as if they just live life in a particular way and then hoping that they wake up one morning and God, in His sovereignty, will package their success, package it well, and then say, my daughter, this is your success. Wake up and become successful, right? But God does not work like that. When God created the heaven and earth, it took Him 6 days of systematic creation, daily executing one task at a time, a structured framework of manifestation that brought out the heavens and the earth that we talk about. You don't wake up successful. I know you know that, but are you executing that? The knowledge you are not executing cannot change your life in any way. So I hope that these 3 points I've shared with us today create some significant impact in what you're building as a career, whether you're a startup business, middle level, or upper level, or what have you. I believe that there was a shift. Did somebody get a shift? If you got a shift in your mind in what you're doing, can you type shift in the chat box? If you got a shift, so you picked out something, you were challenged, you have made a decision that, hey, I have not been performing at the level I should be performing. Awesome. Good. I can take 2 questions. 2 questions and we are done. 2 questions only. If your question is too technical, you pay for consultation fee. All right, go ahead and type your question in the chat box quickly. The first 2 I get, I'm going to reply and respond. YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, not Facebook. First 2 questions, and I will respond. Any questions? So there's no question, that's good. It means I had very good students. I have very good students. All right then. No questions so far, except people are still typing. I'll give 30 more seconds. And let's see if there are any questions. Okay. It seems there are no
Docs, can I
questions.
unmute and talk?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for the opportunity to always listen to you. Listening to you, to me, is one of the gifts that you add to our generation. I'm grateful. I wish to ask, sometimes we are tempted to celebrate little successes because they advise some some presentations or some teachings say that learn to celebrate little successes so that it can motivate you to keep celebrating. But there is that slight, I don't know how to put it, but I will try my best. That slight temptation to to over celebrate and maybe forget that you still continue to prepare. So, what could you help us? What can we do to not over celebrate so that we should stay focused on our journey, even when the little
Yes.
successes come?
Yes. That is a very good question. And you see, success can be very deceptive. Very, very deceptive. And especially success that changes your status or your financial life, right? I have noticed that it becomes very deceptive for many people. and many people fall, and sometimes they get comfortable. One of the best ways to many people that I've discovered, especially from my coaching practice, is that people who quickly settle for little success or small success are people who have not genuinely established their long-term vision. Like right now, I have a vision I'm running towards. I'm not going to tell you the year, but the year is above 2050. There's something that I have put, there are things I want to achieve, and the date that I've put is between 2050 and 2060. That's the goal I'm working on right now. So, and one of the major things I'm working on requires that something I'm doing is going to touch every nation of the earth. Now, if at some point I'm invited to meet the president of a nation now, one nation, it's not going to move me in any way because I know that that's just one nation out of 119 nations on earth, per se, right? So, will I be grateful? Yes. Will I be happy that that happened? Of course. But I cannot settle. It cannot move me to feel as if I have arrived because it's not up to 1% of what I'm aiming for or what I desire to achieve. You get the concept? So most people who quickly get excited, like for example, there are people that they really get excited because they got a car, they got a house, as if that's some success. I'll tell people, look, if your greatest excitement is that you acquired a material thing, you don't really understand what success means. If your greatest happiness comes from you having a good job, that's important, but you don't understand what success means. If your success is attached to material things, it's shallow. And that's why you quickly celebrate and feel as if you have arrived. Meanwhile, you're not living the true embodiment of success. I have a training known as Beyond Materialism. I'm going to train that someday. Beyond Materialism, right? Because it gets to limit people's greatest potentials and manifestations. So my advice is establish your big, hairy vision. What is the big goal? What is your life's mission? It is structured. Do you know the year? If by 2060, based on what you're doing now in terms of impact and influence, how many people would you have impacted? What kind of significant, maybe policy contributions, institutions, establishments, influencing the leaders to really cause change in the way that change should be done in your industry, in your nation, in your setting. If you're able to see things from that perspective, and those things are beyond you having a house or having two cars or having some money in your bank account. Like I always say, the most easiest thing to make is money. The most easiest thing to get in this life is money. But sadly, it's the most difficult thing for many people. You know why? Because the things that makes money to become your slave, many people don't know how to have those things or to build those things. And trainings like this, like what you're learning today, these are some of the things that when you know and do them, it puts money as a slave, not your master. Right? So shift your goal, shift your mission. And of course, when those things happen, if you compare them with where you are and where you're supposed to be in the next 30 years or 10 years or 5 years, you will notice that, Father, thank you for this. You're grateful, you acknowledge God for it, you appreciate Him, but hey, there is more to what you're called to do and you're called to build. All right, somebody said, how do you deal with discouragement? How do I answer this in a way that it doesn't sound hard? If if you are building anything and discouragement is still a major concern for you, either because you failed and you get discouraged, or either because people you expect to support you and they are not there and you get discouraged, or either because people laugh at you and you get discouraged, then you are not ready to be a generational disruptor. You may need to reassess yourself, because discouragement is among the most least things that you're going to experience. Compare discouragement with persecution. If you have not been persecuted, are you guys ready for this? I want to say something that I only say in higher levels. Discouragement is a baby. Discouragement is irrelevance compared to persecution. You understand? So, if you have just been discouraged and it makes you feel as if you're going to give up on your vision, hmm, 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 then you are not ready for that vision. You're not ready for it, because true vision will bring persecution to you. Bring persecution. The second dimension of this is failure that will literally cost you something like your life savings. Failure that will cost you something that is, it will be difficult to put a price on it, but yet you failed. And as you failed, your vision and your calling still requires you to rise up and keep on going and running with that vision. So you now see that in this cadre, discouragement is the least, especially at the very early stage of your journey. So you need to you need to start seeing this. I'm thinking of a better way to put this in a way you understand it, but you need to come to a point in your vision journey and growth where you see discouragement as a gift, not as a problem. Because many a times, discouragement is feedback from the future that what you're doing is right, or what you're doing, people may not understand it, and because of their limited thinking and limited understanding, the only option they have is to speak against it or not to support it. So you need to go beyond that. Come to a point where you say, hey, you see, if I am not yet persecuted heavily because of this mission and this vision I have not started, then whatever comes as discouragement. Was Jesus not discouraged? The apostles in Acts, were they discouraged? But you see, what was more potent was persecution, because every great mission and vision, especially that breaks stereotypes and shape culture, you're going to worry. Your worry will be beyond discouragement. You'll be contending with persecution. You'll be contending with people at the gates, gatekeepers. So if you're worried about discouragement now, what will you do with persecution, gatekeepers, and losses? I'm talking about major losses. Major losses. I'm talking about disloyalty, somebody stabbing you in the back because of your vision, and yet you have to still run with that vision. What will you do with that? So see discouragement as a training ground for what is coming. Because in this journey, you don't rise empty-handed. You don't just rise without barriers. No. With rising comes persecution. With rising comes failures. With rising comes losses. With rising, different things are going to come simultaneously with your rising, with your breaking through, with your manifestation, with your open doors. They're going to come simultaneously. So you need to begin to see them as this is part and parcel of the journey. If you rise effortlessly, if you rise effortlessly, There's a lot of question mark around that rising. You will so fall that nobody can catch you. All right. So that is it for today that I have time for. Again, remember that this is the series we're going to have for the next few weeks, the month of April. So the series that we're focusing on in our master classes is the Golden Opportunity Moment Framework. That's the name of this content I've been giving you guys. And for those who are, as you guys know, as I said yesterday, for in the how do I call it? Then in our Monday morning breakfast services, talking about the members of Professionals Entrepreneurs Fellowship, we have we're having a series in the month of April where we're looking at the spiritual resources that God gives to believers that leads to financial breakthrough. And I feel that the Holy Spirit wanted me to teach these two series simultaneously throughout this month because there is something that He wants people to get, right? Because sometimes Christians get something spiritually and yet they're still struggling in what God has called them to do because they lack these other master classes, things that we are teaching. So please make sure that you are the two together. For like last week, we handled the first spiritual resource that leads to financial breakthrough. Now, what you have learned today, take the two, put them side by side, and begin to see where are my gaps? Where do I need to improve? Because the goal is spiritually, there is that balance. And then, of course, professionally, there's that balance. And as I always tell you guys, there is nobody who gets it right, spiritually right, and professionally right, that person can struggle or be a victim in any nation, in any setting. Right, people, God bless you guys, and see you next Thursday for our masterclass.